arrest for tomorrow.
Oh, come on, Henry.
BBC crime correspondent George Craig helped to make the arrest and has just received further information from the police.
Detective Chief Inspector Jefferson has just named to me the man arrested in Tulbutting this evening as Andrew James, the suspected bank manager murderer. James, 27, a key worker in the campaign team of the Reform Party in Tulbutting, drove a campaign vehicle straight at a group of bank managers.
Please. Oh, my God.
Oh, Henry.
The BBC's crime correspondent, George Craig, helped
We've
to
had
arrest...
several faxes this morning wishing to congratulate our hero of the day, George Craig.
Who helped arrest the bank manager murderer and bringing you a live report from Talbotting about the sensational tennis
Exit
events
polls
there.
suggest a record turnout at Talbotting, where yesterday police arrested a man in connection with the bank manager murders.
Time 11:20. Suspect continues to refuse a lawyer.
I have the right to remain silent, full stop.
Andrew, we caught you trying to mow down 6 Talbotting bank managers in a van. Tell me you weren't there at the time.
I was there. You lot were chasing me. I was trying to stop.
You were in a vehicle which bore the following messages. Labour is murder, don't die for their mistakes, and this could be you, with photos of previous murder victims.
Free country? Well, it isn't, but...
A search of your flat in Rupert Street yielded the following items. Detective Sergeant Martin shows them to James.
74 letters from bank managers warning you were overdrawn and threatening you with proceedings.
Do I get tea?
Is it coincidence those letters included correspondence from 2 of the 6 managers whose deaths we're investigating?
2 are dead, rest are alive, so...
We also have witness statements that relate you to the scene of 4 of the murders shortly after they were committed.
I was interested.
I bet. Look, why not just tell us, Andrew? Get it over with.
You've got it all wrong. You're wasting your time and I have the right to remain silent.
Not anymore, you don't. They've changed the law, didn't you know?
No shit. What are you going to do? Torture me?
Ms. Chrissy Davids,
Labour.
18,357.
Well, that's extraordinary. The Tories have overtaken Labour. No encouragement for the government there.
Lady David Fenwick.
That's the raving loony party.
8,950.
What's happening, Henry? It's not gone as we'd hoped, CP.
Now the Reform Party, who were predicted to sweep away the Labour majority and become, in effect, the official opposition.
Thank you. Mr. Lawrence Boot Heath, 435.
Well, the party that had led the polls throughout the election has actually lost its deposit.
Thank you.
Where did we go wrong, eh? Well, when your chief canvasser is arrested as a serial killer, it doesn't exactly inspire confidence in your ability to govern.
Well, this is the Reform Party, Henry. We've been losing for 100 years. We should be getting quite good at it.
You're listening to The World at One on Radio 4. And as we heard, the man arrested in Talbotting last week in connection with the bank manager murders was charged this morning. Our crime correspondent, George Craig, was in court. Now, you followed this right from the beginning, haven't you?
Yes, I've been involved from the start when the killer chose me as a channel through which to issue threats.
Yes, you lucky sod. It saved your bacon.
So I do
Here, outside number 10. Going to number 10. Wind up, George.
Well, thank you, George. I hope you see justice done. I think you should get some rest as well. Now, I understand that the Prime Minister is about to make a statement from number 10 Downing Street.
You say nothing, all right? Don't answer any questions. We've got to time this right. Don't worry, this could not be better. We're nearly there, okay? It's cool. I can handle it.
I caught the killer, Max. I covered my own arrest.
It was a triumph, George. Brilliant.
Yeah. Oh. Admittedly, I'm more brilliant before lunch than after it.
You get your hard-earned. Enjoy your shore leave. See you next week.
Good night, Blossom. Good health, George.
On the Game, the radio panel show all about radio panel shows.
Oh, good grief.
With Ned Sherrin, Robert Robinson, Nicholas Parsons and Barry Cross.
Save me, Charles. Why do I let them make this drivel?
Because you can't be bothered not to?
Oh, yes, that'll be it. Charles, did you see George Cragg help capture the bank manager murderer?
Yes, interesting.
Oh, DG's very happy. The PM rang him to thank him personally for the BBC's role in the arrest. He thinks it'll put 15 quid on the licence fee, apparently.
And?
It doesn't help how downsized the Director General planned, does it?
Courage, Martin. Bottom left. Director General announces a
new BBC initiative. Oh, he did.
Oh, yes, he did.
To convert paper pushers to programme makers, starting with the team behind an exciting new religious strand. Oh, Jesus.
Heartwarming, isn't it? Incidentally, how is our friend Hercules getting on?
He's over at TV Centre. I told him to go and start work on the programme straight away.
Yes, we must be careful about scripts, you know, Martin. You know how unreliable writers can be. We wouldn't want him to get hold of something broadcastable by mistake, would we?
Well, I thought we could write them ourselves, under a pseudonym. I thought perhaps J. Austen.
Oh, very good.
There is just one thing, Charles, I've just been pondering. You did say that if he goes, the DG might be replaced with someone from radio, but you didn't say with who.
With whom, Martin? Whom? Well, I personally can't think of a better person than the one looking at you now. Can you, Martin?
I did wonder.
Hello. Are you having a nightmare?
Hello.
I'm wide awake. I'm making plans.
Wait a minute. You've been arrested.
Have I?
You're remanded in custody.
I'm busy.
What do you mean?
I have things to do.
What are you going to do? Look, who is it?
Very nice here, isn't it? Much nicer than Broadcasting House. Lovely big corridors, great views of the other offices. Was that Moira Stewart?
Very likely. Now, look, don't you worry about the budget. And I can tell you that nobody around here has heard a sentence like that in years. So, I mean, you make the most of it. Do whatever you want. Yes. Just make an impact. I want this show talked about, and I want it watched. It's all yours, Hercules.
Is it?
Here we are, then.
Well, I hope my new memo pads have arrived. What's this, then?
It's your production team, raring to go. Just tell them what you want them to do.
Oh, Jesus.
Potty's got to go? Triton Potters Reformers are set to go bust after a sensational collapse in membership. Henry, they say we're going bankrupt and they all blame me. It's the biggest political cock-up of all time.
Well, there was the Russian Revolution.
I'm going to the garage. If I have to decide whether to stand by this party, the least I can do is persuade myself over a large tawny port while you, Henry, make a plan. Cheerio.
I know. Why don't we dress up as bank managers and kill ourselves?
Oh, don't let it get to you. There's only one election. There'll be another one along soon.
We won't be able to afford to fight it. We don't have any money.
So we borrow some.
Who from? We're the party that murders bank managers, remember?
Even Jesus turned on the money lenders.
Yeah, but he didn't try and run over them on his donkey, did he?
Well, why don't we ask Daddy? He's loaded, and he's party leader in the Lords.
Daddy doesn't want to know. None of them do.
Look, George, I've just captured the most dangerous psychopath this country's seen since Michael Howard. On the Yard Bulletin Board, I'm Officer of the Month. Hey, the Commissioner sent me flowers. Why can't I be sure?
He rang me, I tell you.
In the middle of the night, after you'd been on the piss. When you were asleep, you'd think.
He said he had plans, Frank.
So you call us a crank. The killer's in the cells.
Has he confessed?
He had motive. He had opportunity. We'll get there.
Oh, yeah. I see. So what if another bank manager cops it? What will it say on the bulletin board then?
George, you're totally ignoring the evidence.
What evidence?
You're the evidence. You were there when he tried to run over 6 bank managers in Talbotting, remember? You're on holiday. Give it a rest. I'll see you in the witness box. All right?
So I just follow you.
That's right, Hercules. We got all your memos about the production, and we thought you'd better see this. In here. Do you mind the cabling?
Oh, yes. Oh.
It's what in television we call a studio. I did say mind the cables.
Yes, it's huge, isn't it? Do I need anything as big as this?
That's not all we need. We need one of these.
What's that?
A script. You need one.
Oh, yes, I've got this new writer, Jane Austen.
Tell him we need it before next Sunday fortnight when you go out.
I'm going out?
The show goes out on air, leaving us, 2.5 weeks to get the script written, revised, typed, distributed, cast contracted, set designed, the show rehearsed and crews approved.
A cruise?
Camera crew, lighting crew and sound crew. Audience to be found, seated and, if at all possible, amused.
Oh, yes, it's exciting, this. Do I need anything else?
You need a new PA.
Well, aren't you my PA?
I'm sorry, but you're a radio personnel officer.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get to be producing this?
Oh, I think it's something to do with extending choice.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm extending my choice to get out and save my butt before this show goes down the pan big time. I did say mind the cable.
Good morning, and on What Is Now this morning, as the trial of Andrew James starts at the Old Bailey, we look at the government scheme that's fast-tracked the case to court in record time. Also, what the best-dressed barristers are wearing. Amanda Salisbury of Silver Magazine talks us.
All right. The defendant will rise. Andrew Thomas James, you are charged severally with the murder of 7 men and the attempted murder of 9 others. How do you plead?
I'm innocent.
Not guilty.
That too.
No, George.
No, Simon. He won't be called till next week.
Chief Inspector.
Mr. Diaz, you remember?
How could I forget you? You trod dog dirt into an antique Persian rug.
Did I really? No damage, I hope.
Well, nothing I can't afford.
So, you're going to place Mr. James at the scene of the Commons murder for us, are you, sir?
Well, I will identify a man wearing odd shoes, Chief Inspector. Frankly, I think it's a little flimsy, don't you think? Well, I sincerely hope he goes down for it.
Angela, if you ever seen a bastard's car while you're out, clamp it, will you? Even if it's moving.
Daddy,
Letitia, what are you doing here?
getting my coat. I work here, remember? Oh, are you looking for me for lunch?
Oh, no. Not quite, not exactly.
Lonnie, you still there? Sorry, you, left your work spirit.
Oh. Henry, well, good heavens.
Aren't they just, Lord Tone? Do come through and sit down.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid I must
I want
away.
to discuss a possible donation to party funds.
I see. Yeah, yes, of course. Certainly.
I booked for lunch, Henry.
Somewhere expensive.
these the shoes he was wearing?
They appear to be.
My lad, the shoes were removed from the defendant. He admits to wearing odd pairs. That's all.
Mr. Diaz, you are the brother of the Governor of the Bank of England, are you not?
I prefer to be known in my own right. I am an economist.
But may I put it to you, from your position in society, one shoe must look very like another.
I recognize a pair of lobs. The finer details of high street trash elude me.
So perhaps one disheveled young man may look very like another. No further questions, my lord?
Please swing then.
Excuse me, this is my car, if you don't mind.
Can't say as I do, old son. Here. Don't tell the others. They'll all want some.
Gotta be a pig for CP, this party conference. They're gonna question his leadership style.
What's wrong with it?
He hasn't got one.
Are you always so interested in politics, Henry?
Yeah, since university. I thought I'd stand as a candidate myself, but I couldn't afford it. I thought I'd better try and earn some money.
All right. So then what?
I went into advertising. It was fun for a bit, but I got fed up with writing about tits.
Tits?
I didn't say that, did I? I meant soap powders.
You know, I do understand your problem, Henry.
Do you?
You spend all your time sublimating, don't you?
Do I?
It's obvious. You give out very confusing signals. You need to be more upfront with women.
I wouldn't know how.
All you have to do is find a girl you truly fancy and ask her if she'll go away with you for the weekend.
Actually, to tell you the truth, I've been meaning to ask you for days, but I didn't dare.
Ask me what?
What are you doing next weekend?
I'm not doing anything. Have you got plans?
Well, yes, I was wondering whether you'd come to Brighton with me.
To a hotel?
Oh, yeah, it's a good hotel.
Well, of course I will. I thought you'd never ask.
Well, I didn't like to. I mean, it's not much fun, a party conference, but, there's going to be a lot for you to do.
Oh, piss, Henry.
Where is he? Where's George? What's he playing at?
Hasn't turned up yet. I'll put you back in first.
Put out a general alert to all mobiles right across London and tell them to go by the good pub guide.
The man you were seeking wore odd shoes. What a wicked individual. No wonder you thought he was a menace to society.
We found evidence in his flat.
Evidence in his flat? Did you have a warrant?
No, sir. I considered that lives were in danger.
Bastard! Mr. James, do not interrupt.
So you broke the law. And what evidence did you find on breaking and entering my client's home?
We found he had overdrafts with half the banks in London, including 2 of which the managers had been murdered. We found he had an appointment with Mr. Addison the morning he was killed. We found shoes that placed him at one of the crime scenes. His description placed him at 3 others.
Did you find murder weapons? Blood-stained clothing?
No, sir. But we did find notes. The killer left notes.
Yes, written on an Apple Macintosh computer attached to a Hewlett-Packard laser printer. Did you find one of those?
No, sir. He must have typed them up elsewhere.
Did you, in fact, Chief Inspector, find any real evidence at all?
I arrested him in the act of trying to run over a bunch of bank managers, as a witness will confirm, my lad.
I look forward to it. Court adjourned.
Ah, staff booking forms. I know about these. I was in personnel. Perhaps I could help. Yeah, just sign them, please, yeah?
Oh, thank goodness. Here it is, everyone. It is the script. The all-important script.
Now, I think we're getting there.
Why will the Pope never get piles? Because he's a perfect arsehole.
Well, we do try to take a relaxed view on this show.
$20 Bensons.
What the hell are you doing here, you old sponger?
Reporting the trial.
That should be me.
You can't. You're meant to be the key witness. You should be over there. How much have you earned?
I needed a bit of Dutch courage.
You've been going to court all your life, George. Come on. Main thing is to get him behind bars where he belongs.
But does he, Max? That's the question.
Well, of course he did it. You saw him do it. Bloody hell, George, he tried to kill both of us.
Well, suppose he gets locked up and there's another murder.
And supposing he gets off and there's another murder.
So you maintain you did not plant the bombs that were found set in Talboting the day after you arrived there?
Didn't I just say that?
And you did not kill Mr. Addison, who refused you an overdraft? Mr. Inchcape, who frequented the building you live in? Mr. Anderson, whose death you watched from the Strangers' Gallery?
Right again.
Mr. James, do you think those men deserve to die?
I think they had it coming. And the more that died, the better it was for me. It fitted our plan.
What's this? Now he starts talking.
Mr. James, are you now for the first time admitting an involvement with the killings?
You could say I'm involved, yes.
You have refused to tell the police the source of substantial amounts of money that you've recently received. Did someone pay you in connection with these killings?
In connection, yes.
And were you at the crime scenes as claimed?
Yeah.
And did you write the notes found in your flat?
Yeah.
My lord, can we see these notes?
Do you object, Miss Perry?
No, my lad.
Andrew, could you read them for the court?
A bullet to the heart of the moneymaker, another victim of the pound. A dead man's pocket doesn't need the money.
Might I ask if you recognize those words, my lord? I put it to the court that these are not notes.
What are they?
Lyrics.
Lyrics?
My first single. About the murders. Yeah, I'm obsessed with them. I've cut out the pictures, visited the scenes. Because every time there's a killing, I climb the charts. I'm the lead singer of Slinky Head. And tomorrow, we're going to be the UK #1.
For 15 minutes.
Can't find him anywhere, Garth. Surely we've lost him.
He tried to run people over. We've got to get him for that or we've had it. So find George. Because if he isn't in that courtroom in the next 10 minutes, I'll go down as the first chief inspector to be convicted of the murder of his star witness.
Right, we're on to Pope and Choirboy. Can we lose that big thing flicking the V signs, please? Camera 1, can you give me a shot of the murdering Jews, please?
Couldn't it be a little more pink? You know, we need it to be really in your face.
Oh, I think it's in your face and out the other side. You have what you want. You're the producer.
Yes, I am the producer.
Right, move on.
Okay, we're moving on. We won't burn the Quran till the dress, so we pick up at shot 136. 136. Can I have nuns and Alsatians over here, please?
Okay, get the nuns downstage.
Have you a mo?
What?
Come on. Whereabouts did you think the face should be?
There's the loveliest position.
George, you're as drunk as a judge.
Should have guessed, shouldn't I?
Oh.
Come on, you tosser, or I'll have you in the cells for contempt.
You wouldn't, Frank.
Wouldn't I? My career depends on a conviction in this case. Right, you, help me get him out. Come on.
Right. Oh, come on, really. Ask me again slowly.
Do you know I have the power to fine you for contempt of court?
No, Your Honour, but if you hum it, I'll pay it.
Mr. Cragg, would you kindly look at the defendant and say if you identify him as the man who tried to run down 6 bank managers in Talboting?
Couldn't identify him from Adam. Oh.
Miss Perry, your witness has collapsed.
No!
So, I suggest, has this case, my lord?
So, that's the boring safety bits, and now you're in the mood. Please meet the creator and producer of the show. It was all his idea. It's Hercules Fortescue!
Thank you, Giles. Good evening, folks. My name is Hercules Fortescue, and I would like to congratulate you for being the first ever audience to watch Oh Jesus. It's a brand new kind of Sunday night entertainment in places of praise, so you can all tell your friends who saw it first.
Okay, start on camera 1 out of titles.
And we're going live in 1 minute, so let's just try that catchphrase once more, shall we? 1, 2, 3... Oh, Jesus!
Cool.
BBC Radio News on Monday, the 22nd of May. Over 4,000 complaints have been received about the live religious satire show Oh Jesus, which was transmitted in a slot normally reserved for songs of praise. The programme contained extreme bad language, the on-air blowing up of a live otter, and scenes of hardcore Dutch pornography, dubbed with the Muslim call to prayer.
Well, did you watch it last night?
Oh, of course I watched it.
Yeah, and wasn't it...
wasn't it?
Funny. Yes, shame on the BBC indeed. Yes. Shame on BBC television, put it that way. Well, I wonder if the DG's in the building. I gather he's been on a fishing holiday in the Trossachs. He's expected any minute. Nasty shock. Awfully worrying. Oh, awful.
The bank manager murder trial has collapsed suddenly after the BBC's former crime correspondent George Cragg collapsed in the witness box. The man acquitted, Andrew James, was revealed to be the lead singer of the group Slinky Head, whose record, In the Red...
Former crime correspondent?
He's sacked. Being drunk in court and causing the acquittal of a murderer you helped arrest is a serious disciplinary offence.
But George has been covering crime
Oh,
since
Max, I don't care if he's covered the rape of the Sabine women. The nation's eyes were on him, and they saw him for what he is, an old soak.
Shouldn't there be a disciplinary hearing?
Yeah, well, who'd run it? The personnel officer? It's up to the line manager, who happens to be me. He's gone, and that's the end of the news.
I'd like to speak to George.
George Cragg? No, he isn't here. And he won't be.
What a shame. Tell him I wish him well in his retirement. And that I'm sorry he'll miss the end game.
What?
Look, I just thought we'd get here before the delegates and go through the motions, CP.
I approve of all the motions, Henry. It's my style as party leader.
Yeah, well, maybe not this time.
What's the restaurant like here?
This time there's one that makes perfect sense.
This conference has no confidence in the leadership of G. Crichton Potter and demands his immediate resignation. Damn it, Henry!
Morning. What's going on out the front?
Oh, DG, the government would like to see you.
Ah, right. It's about the review, is it? When?
As soon as you've seen the Board of Governors.
What?
The board's meeting in emergency session at the moment. They said you were to go straight in as soon as you arrived, only we think you should see this first.
Thank you for coming, Director General. Do sit down. I'm sure you realize a quite appalling mistake has been made, one that has roused that sleeping giant, the British public. In the circumstances, we feel there are only two options. One is that we, the Board of Governors, should resign, en masse. And the other is that you, Director General, should resign. After due consideration, we have reached a decision.
Right, can you listen, everyone? The Director General has resigned. Yes, I do mean sacked. Sacked. This becomes the lead. John, can you write me a summary and keep updating? Apparently the controller of BBC One might be next. Kathy, dig out his obituary. We'll run the whole thing, except for the bit about him being dead. Alan?
And a warm welcome to conference, everyone.
Hello,
Please note the legalised cannabis meeting is cancelled as the speaker is unavoidably detained.
Here we are, eh? It's not good, CP.
It is absurd. I only lost one by-election. Why do they want me to resign?
Leadership from the front is one thing. Leadership from the Savoy is another.
A chap has to eat, Henry.
Look, I've been doing some arithmetic. If we lock some of the delegates in the loo, some get trapped in lifts.
Yeah.
Others mysteriously lose their voting cards. Others get so drunk they accidentally vote the wrong way.
Oh, well done, Henry.
Well, then we only lose by a majority of 3-1.
Well, you'll just have to write me the speech of a lifetime, Henry. What am I going to say?
I don't know yet. I expect we'll offer them a dynamic new approach.
Do we have to go that far?
BBC News at 2 o'clock. The Director General of the BBC has resigned. The resignation was tendered at an emergency meeting of the BBC Governors about the programme Oh Jesus. The controller of BBC One, James Wilkes, and the programme's producer, Hercules Fortescue, have also resigned.
Done it, Charles. We've done it. Indeed we have, but let there be no unseemly triumphalism, Martin. This is a grave crisis, possibly the gravest in the history of the BBC. This is not a matter for rejoicing. No. Champagne, though? Oh, I think so.
Gloat, Martin. Gloat. We've got subs in there who can't tell less from fewer or enormity from magnitude or whether arse is from a hole in the ground. How dare the bastards fire me? Do you want another?
Don't know what I'm doing drinking here with you. I never want to see you again.
I had to do it, Frank. I didn't think he was guilty.
What's that got to do with it?
It's all wrong. The whole case right from the start. We've had too many leads. He writes his notes, for God's sake. He makes crank calls. He uses £1 coins. We've had more far-fetched clues than a murder weekend in the Cotswolds.
So what am I supposed to do? Call Inspector Morse?
Killers don't give you clues, Frank. They just kill. This anti-capitalist psycho with a grudge stop is just not real.
Well, they're really dead, George. And we're really up shit creek.
Look, let's go back to first principles. The vast majority of murder victims get bumped off by the nearest and dearest. You don't get murdered by a customer because you turned down his overdraft. You get murdered by your wife because you can't stand the way you pick your nose anymore.
Ah, so the victims were all married to the same woman. Brilliant.
He's laughing at us, Frank. And he's cost me my job.
Cheer up, love. It's not the end of the world.
Oh, God, I wish it were. Please let it be.
Please note the Radical Alternative to Sex meeting. We're now taking
Henry, going well, is it?
I think the word no springs to mind.
Oh dear, I thought they'd changed their minds about me now I canvass the chaps off the hook.
Well, now they've looked at you, they don't like what they see. You're not going somewhere, are you?
Well, yes, I'm going up to the city for the Bank of England dinner. Couldn't miss that one, Henry. It's the best meal of the year.
Look, bugger the meal, you should be here, glad handing the delegates. Damn it, don't you want to stay here and fight for your political life?
Frankly, no. Give it your best shot, Henry. Just one brilliant speech, the party rallied, and who knows.
But I was going to take Henry out for a break, Geoffrey.
I'm sorry, it can't be helped. Ah, I'll tell you what. Why not dictate it into this thing and let Zoe type it all up in the morning? There we are. Can't have you two working too hard, can we? I'll be back in the wee small hours. Cheerio.
Gee, thanks, CP.
I wondered if there was any news. Oh, you're off somewhere, Charles?
Indeed I am, Martin, yes. I've been invited to the Bank of England dinner at the Guild House this evening. What makes the event even more tempting is that amongst those present will be the chairman of our beloved governors.
They still haven't sent up the white smoke, then?
I gather it's imminent, Martin. I also gather that the tide is turning in favour of someone untainted by the recent debacle. Someone from radio.
Yes, I wonder if anything has been said about a deputy.
Deputy?
Yes, one would need one's deputy, wouldn't one, Charles?
The details of BBC management structure will be considered, among other matters. Personally, I don't like pushy people, Martin.
You do intend to make me your deputy, don't you, Charles?
Dear Martin, I shall of course endeavour to find you a position wholly commensurate with your abilities and aptitudes.
Bastard.
George Cragg and the arrest of the alleged bank manager murderer, Tolbotti.
Your mystery voice called. Sent his love, basically, but then he went on about an end game. I've written it down.
Tosser. I've got him somewhere, Max. I know I have.
Oh, George, what can I say?
How about my round?
I could do with one. I've got to go to the Guild House, cover the Bank of England dinner.
You're the BBC economics correspondent. You go to the Pillocks convention.
Trouble is all so technical. I mean, I'm a journalist, for God's sake, not a fiscal wizard. It's all very high class. Chancellor of the Exchequer will be there. His second best suit. And the governor, of course.
Bloody hell. Lacar. What's he doing there?
Well, I told you, it's his bash. It's very posh. He's the biggest bank manager in the country, isn't he?
Who is?
The governor of the Bank of England. The setter of the interest rate, the signer of the currency, Mr. Pound himself. Could you lend me a tenner for the taxi?
Show us the guest list. My God. He's going to be there.
Ooh, what's this?
50 quid, Max. Have a night on the town. I'll cover the Bank of England dinner for you. Where's the invite?
In my jacket.
I think I've got him, Max. And if I'm wrong, well, I'm fired. And I want to really misbehave.
Drinks are on me, everyone. Oh, George, there's another thing. The leader of the Reform Party, Right Honourable Chancellor of the Exchequer, and his guest.
Yeah, you know about computers, darling. All his financial stuff. What's he worth? What's he spend money on? Who's he dealing with? Whatever you can get.
We are grateful for cooperation from the public and will consider your comments as part of our wider inquiry. But not if you call me darling, George.
Good girl. Give me a call if you get anything. And get Frank down here. It's his party.
Evening, Geoffrey. Evening, Carstairs. How's your what's it?
The Bank of England. To be frank with you, Geoffrey, the country's in the red. In the red with a vengeance. And of course, I get the blame for the whole bang shoot these days.
Well, I know just how you feel. Oh, well, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we'll be stabbed in the back, eh?
Good evening.
George Cragg.
Title or honour, sir?
Just George. Mr. George Cragg. Don't tell me I've missed the dancing, girls.
George Cragg? Sorry, I don't recall.
I'm from the BBC, replacing Max Parker.
So you're giving the speech. I look forward to it.
The speech? What was he going to say?
Assessment of the financial state of the nation, I expect. Just don't mention the pound.
No?
It's a publicly reported dinner. One wrong word and bingo. International crisis.
Oh, no wonder Max needed a drink. Excuse us. Chin chin.
Good evening, Note 10? I know you, don't I? Charles Prentice, controller of Radio 2. I've been thinking about this matter of our new Director General. I wonder if you'd considered anyone from radio at all.
It had crossed our minds.
Geoffrey, I thought you were in the middle of a leadership crisis.
Yeah, I've got a chap who'll deal with that. Wouldn't miss the Bank of England for the world.
Oh, yes, indeed. My brother loves showing off with his great occasions. Haven't seen you since that day at the Commons.
Peter Anderson. I haven't touched a penny as you since.
Really? Still, you're not in much danger of fading away.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, dinner is served. Would the top table guests kindly remain behind with our chairman? Thank you.
Ah, Cragg, I hear you're giving the speech.
Must be true, then. Really? You'll be on the top table, then? Very much in the hot seat.
Well, that'd be cozy.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, the governor will say grace.
Yeah? Hello, darling. Don't mind me. Yeah?
Why don't we just get on a plane? A week by a pool somewhere really hot.
Letitia, I've got the press on the warpath, career in crisis. I've got absolutely no money. I can't exactly go swanning off on holiday, can I?
Doesn't stop Fergie.
Fergie isn't trying to run a political party. Well, not yet, anyway.
Oh, Henry, you're too clever for this. You know as well as I do, politics doesn't really matter. It's just boys' games, isn't it? Go on, live a little.
I've got to save CP's bacon.
Why should you save CP's bacon if he can't be bothered to save it himself? He exploits you. Why don't you become party leader?
We already have one. Well, at least until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Listen, how about this? I believe I've acted fairly. I hope I've acted wisely. I have always tried to act honourably.
Boring, Henry. Doesn't mean anything, does it?
That sounded pretty good when Macmillan said it in a Profumo debate.
Oh, I'm going out. If you don't want to come with me, well, that's just it, isn't it?
What about this? Let us forget our differences.
So that's it. It's a bad decision, Henry.
No one turn up outside, is there? A bloke called Frank.
You seem to have enjoyed the boeuf en croûte.
No, not bad, as far as toad in the hole goes.
My word.
Sorry, Dominic. You're not a cream man, are you?
Why don't I go and have a word with my driver about running Mr. Cragg home? I'm sure we could forego a speech since he's clearly very unwell.
Bollocks. Sit down. My lords, ladies, and tossers.
Not now, man. Speeches come later.
My name is George Cragg, and I'm the crime correspondent of the BBC.
I thought we'd fired
Or at least I was till today.
What's he doing here?
Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm here.
Well, quite.
We're in for a penny, in for a pound. Would you like to hear my economic theory? Why would a man who banks at Coops put 25 quid into a rainy day savings account into a building society at Tolbotting using his mother's maiden name?
Sit down, Crag, you're drunk.
That's right. See? So he gets a cash point card, because he's a clever bastard, see? He sticks the card in, opens the screen, plants the bomb, cancels the request, and Bob's your dead bank manager. There's no withdrawal, no deposit, and no record in the accounts. Until my friends at the yard start digging around the bank's computers and trace 2 cancelled transactions at the Tolbotting Bank 10 minutes before they blow up.
Well.
So, bad luck, Dominic. Close, but no goldfish.
Dominic, this is ridiculous.
Sorry, Ali. You're the bank manager he's got it in for.
Stand well back, please. Well, George, I must say that's the most interesting speech I've ever heard at this absurd occasion. And let me respond by telling you that inside one of these magnificent desserts you see before you is enough high explosive to blow this historic hall halfway to Dogland. And this device in my hand will trigger it. So, if you'll excuse me, Fatty.
Stay back, please. We've got him. Come on, Frank. Let me. Dominic, dear. You're licked.
Poetic bombe surprise.
Here's your speech for the confidence vote, CP. Best I can do. My friends, this is the greatest challenge of my life. I believe I've acted fairly. I hope I've acted wisely. I've always tried to act honourably. So, let us forget our differences. 2 hours, and that's all I've managed to do.
Henry?
Tisha.
Hello.
My God. What is it? What do you want?
Oh, Henry, darling, let's stop this. We're good together. Don't be scared. I want it. And I want it with you. Come on!
The 2 men involved, Geoffrey Crichton Potter and George Cragg, were described as heroes by the Governor of the Bank of England. Both are reported to be resting this morning after the stress of the sensational arrest.
Money can buy you absolutely anything you want.
Your words. You see, I do my paperwork.
How laudable.
It can buy you bombs, can it? Guns. From your government advisor friends, maybe.
As you say, in a free market, everything's available for the right price.
Or perhaps you don't just collect art in your Middle East Jones, do you?
Don't I, Inspector?
We'll work it out when we've looked hard enough at your financial goings-on.
Oh, I shouldn't be so confident, Inspector. Your previous mistakes with Mr. James have been rather well publicised.
I'll tell you what. I bet you if 5 of you go to prison and no mistake. A little matter of attempting to wipe out half the British establishment at a stroke.
That might have been the effect. It certainly wasn't the intention. I have every respect for the British establishment.
All these murders, then? They had nothing to do with the evils of capitalism, all that?
It's an admirable institution.
So 8 men died as a smokescreen.
Well, it's a blindingly obvious notion, Inspector. If one wanted to commit one murder for which one had a motive, one would hide it amongst many others for which one did not.
Would one? A motive? Jealous of our big brother, eh?
He is, Inspector, an imbecile who became probably the most powerful man in England because of a couple of Islington dinners, whilst I, who am a very clever man indeed, remain a scholarly non-entity. You have to admit it's a great provocation.
My heart bleeds.
Besides, one gets bored.
Not as bored as one gets in Parkhurst yet.
Well, do you really think with my connections I'll be there for very long? My brother's the governor of the Bank of England, you know.
Friends, please welcome, fresh from his triumph in capturing the bank manager murderer, the great leader of a great party, Geoffrey Crichton Potter.
My friends, this is the greatest challenge of my life. I believe I've acted fairly. I hope I've acted wisely. I've always tried to act honorably. Let us forget our differences. We're good together. Let's just get on with it. The truth is, I want it with you, and I want it now. I stand naked before you, and I've had enough of just thinking about it, fantasizing about it, dreaming about it.
Where'd you get that from?
You know I am what you want. Oh, God, yes. And you are what I want. I want to give you everything I've got, again and again and again. Friends, let's try all we can to come together. Will you do that a little more? Will you? For God's sake, take me.
Of course I will, Henry.
Warm congratulations on last night, Mr. Cragg. A quite remarkable outcome to the dinner.
So are you giving me back my job as crime correspondent?
No. I'm sure you realize the BBC sees itself not simply as another broadcaster. It sees itself in the center of British life, where we come together as a community, a nation.
Bollard. Quite right, Lord Tom.
Last Sunday we broadcast a program that broke their trust. The Director General, an honorable man, took the only possible course and resigned. And so, George.
Am I missing the punchline?
2 days ago, following a program which you, the public, left us in no doubt was a serious lapse in our standards, the Director General resigned.
Get on with it, man.
I now wish to announce a successor. We have chosen a man from radio, highly experienced.
Yes, Martin.
In fact, a popular hero, Mr. George Cragg.
What? We fired
Mr. Cragg will assume his duties.
This is your fault, Martin.
Other changes in senior management.
Control the radio too.
No, you're not. The government.
I've just been down the pub with my old mate Fortescue. You're a scheming prat, Charles. You're fired. Max Parker is taking over from you immediately.
Who is this?
For me? your new Director General.
Gemma.
Politically incorrect in all possible ways. Next on BBC Two, it's Alan Partridge.